The forgotten prescription. She thought opening that small white box would save her daughter's life. She never imagined it would expose the person trying to end it. The late afternoon sun cast long golden streaks across the porch as Martha Cole, a 50-year-old black woman with warm eyes and soft curves, bent down to pick up the small white package resting at her feet. She wasn't expecting any delivery. Her own prescriptions came only once a month, and those were already in the cabinet above the sink. She turned the box over in her hands. Her daughter's name, Jasmine Cole, was printed on the label. Same address, same pharmacy. Probably another vitamin refill, Martha murmured to herself, smiling. Jasmine, 27, was a nurse at the local hospital, usually too busy to pick up her own meds. Martha often took care of little errands. That's what moms do, even when the kids are grown. But as she walked into the kitchen, a subtle chill rippled up her arms. Something about the box felt off, too light, too quiet. Martha set the box on the kitchen table, next to a half-empty cup of peppermint tea. The kettle clicked in the background. She tore open the packaging. Inside lay a small orange prescription bottle, wrapped in bubble plastic. Her eyes narrowed. This wasn't Jasmine's usual vitamin bottle. The label was crisper, newer. Take once daily for chronic management. Dr. Liam Weaver, MD. Martha frowned. Chronic management? Jasmine had no chronic illness. She reached for her phone and texted her daughter. Got your prescription in the mail. Jasmine? Huh? I didn't order anything. I'm at work. Be home late. Martha's thumb hovered over the screen. She looked back at the bottle. A strange unease crawled beneath her skin. Something wasn't right. Then the landline rang. Hardly anyone used it anymore. Martha Cole speaking. Mrs. Cole, this is Dr. Harrison. I'm sorry for the intrusion. I was just reviewing patient records. His voice was low, almost urgent. Did you receive any medication for Jasmine today? Martha blinked. Yes, I just opened a box. Why? Don't give her those pills. Please don't. Bring them to the clinic immediately. Her pulse spiked. What's wrong with them? The doctor's voice dropped even lower. They're not vitamins, and they're not prescribed by anyone in our system. The drive to the clinic felt longer than usual. The bottle sat on the passenger seat, silent and sinister. Martha kept glancing at it at every red light. Her heart thudded heavily. Jasmine was healthy, vibrant, happy. So why would someone send her unknown pills? Dr. Harrison, a trusted friend who treated Martha's late husband years ago, met her at the door. He wore blue scrubs and a frown. May I? He asked, taking the bottle with gloved hands. He turned it under the fluorescent lights, scanned the barcode with his tablet, and muttered a curse. What is it? Martha demanded. It's a beta blocker, very strong. The kind that, in the wrong dosage, can stop a healthy heart. He met her eyes. And the label is a fake. The room spun slightly. Martha gripped the edge of the counter. Who would do this to my daughter? Harrison exhaled slowly. That's what we need to find out. I know disease and interstains of the clatter. That evening, Jasmine came home, tired but smiling, her scrubs still smelling faintly of antiseptic. Mama, what's wrong? You look like you saw a ghost. Martha took a shaky breath and told her everything. The package, the phone call, the fake prescription. Jasmine stared at the table, her hands tightening around her mug. I don't know who would send me something like that, she whispered. But her voice trembled, just slightly, enough for a mother to notice. You sure, baby? Martha asked gently. Yeah, probably some weird mix-up. Martha had raised this girl. She knew the difference between fear and inconvenience. Jasmine was hiding something. When Jasmine went to bed, Martha sat alone in the kitchen, staring at the prescription bottle sealed in a plastic bag on the counter. The house creaked softly. Outside, cicadas hummed. She remembered the night her husband died, the feeling in her gut when she knew something was wrong before anyone else did. That same cold, sharp instinct prickled her now. Someone had tried to hurt her daughter. And Martha Cole wasn't the type of woman to sit quietly. She reached for her phone, opened her notes, and typed 1. Who sent the package? 2. Fake doctor name. 3. Pharmacy check. 4. Someone close. She closed the note and whispered to the empty room. If you're trying to hurt my baby, you picked the wrong mama. The next morning was cool and crisp. Martha, wearing her gray cardigan and simple gold hoops, walked into the local pharmacy on Main Street. She'd been coming here for years. They knew her by name. Morning, Martha, said Clara, the pharmacist, with a friendly smile. Picking up your thyroid refill? Not today, sugar, Martha replied, sliding the empty white box across the counter. I'm here about this. It came to my house yesterday. For Jasmine. Clara's smile faltered. She scanned the label, frowned, and typed something quickly on the computer. Dr. Liam Weaver. She shook her head slowly. We don't have anyone by that name in our system. And she tilted the screen toward Martha. No prescription has ever been filled here for this medication under Jasmine's name. Martha's stomach tightened. Then where the hell did this come from? Clara lowered her voice. This label looks professional, but the barcode is wrong. It's printed, not embedded. Whoever made this knew how to make it look real. Martha gripped the counter. She felt something shift inside her, not fear. Something sharper, older, protectiveness. She thanked Clara and walked out, the morning air biting colder now. Back at home, Martha checked her porch camera. She hadn't thought to look before. Scrolling back to yesterday afternoon, she saw the delivery truck pull in. Only, it wasn't a usual truck. No logo. Just a plain white van. The man who left the package wore a baseball cap pulled low, and he never showed his face to the camera. But something caught her eye. His gloves. They were navy blue with a stitched H on the back. Her mind raced. H. It could mean anything, but she'd seen gloves like that before. Last Christmas, on someone close. That evening, Jasmine's boyfriend Ethan came over. Tall, charming, with an easy smile, the kind of man neighbors adored. He worked in construction management, claimed he loved Jasmine more than life itself. Martha watched him from the kitchen as he kissed Jasmine hello. Her eyes fell on his gloves lying on the entry table, navy blue, with a stitched H. Ethan? Martha said lightly, walking closer. Those your gloves? He grinned. Yeah. Got 'em from a buddy who works at Hudson Construction. Why? Martha tilted her head. Just, they look familiar. Something flickered across his face a fraction of a second. A tightening around the mouth. But then he laughed it off. Jasmine didn't notice, but Martha did. They had dinner together, roast chicken, green beans, cornbread. Martha stayed quiet, observing. Ethan excused himself to take a phone call. He stepped outside to the porch, unaware that Martha had turned the porch camera mic on. Through the faint crackle of static, she heard. Ethan, low voice. Yeah, I dropped it off yesterday. She got it. Pause. No, she doesn't suspect anything. Jasmine thinks it's vitamins. She'll start taking them soon. The air drained from Martha's lungs. He was talking about the pills. Her hand clenched around her napkin so tightly it tore. She forced her breathing steady. She couldn't confront him yet. Not without proof. She glanced at Jasmine, laughing softly at a meme on her phone. Her baby girl. Not yet, Martha thought. But soon. Late that night, while Jasmine and Ethan watched a movie, Martha quietly slipped out the back door. She opened the side gate, crouched next to Ethan's truck, and snapped a photo of the license plate. Then she lifted the tailgate slightly. Inside, she spotted a stack of empty white shipping boxes, the same kind that had arrived on her porch. Her hands shook, but not from fear, from fury. When Ethan left an hour later, Martha walked to her room and locked the door. She opened her laptop and typed into the search bar, Hudson Construction Delivery Services, divided by employee Ethan Ward. A string of results popped up, and one, in particular, made her blood run cold. Employee incident: Hudson Construction subcontractor linked to illegal pharmaceutical shipments. Case pending 2 years ago. Ethan Ward's name was listed in the report. Cleared of charges due to lack of evidence. Martha leaned back in her chair. Her heart pounded steadily. "You thought you were hunting her," she whispered in the dark. "But you don't know her mama." The night after Ethan's porch call, Martha didn't sleep. She sat at the kitchen table with a worn yellow legal pad and her reading glasses, the light from the lamp pooling over her careful handwriting. She wrote, 1. Ethan equals delivery man. 2. Fake prescription plus gloves equals proof. 3. Motive, money, revenge. 4. Who else involved? 5. Jasmine must not know yet. She paused, staring at her own handwriting. The name Ethan looked too small for the danger she felt. A man willing to poison her daughter didn't deserve neat little letters. She folded the page and tucked it into her Bible, the same place she had hidden the deed to the house and her late husband's service medal. Safe, untouchable. The next morning, Martha drove to the small clinic where Dr. Harrison worked. He met her in his office, a steaming mug of coffee already waiting for her. "I figured you'd come back," he said, leaning back in his chair. "I need more than talk, Harrison," Martha said quietly. "I need proof." He pushed the prescription bottle toward her. "I sent this to the lab. The pills are beta blockers, yes, but they're overdosed enough to cause slow, undetected heart failure if taken over time." Martha's throat tightened. Harrison continued, "If she had taken even a few, her symptoms would look like fatigue, stress. No one would have suspected foul play." A shiver ran down her spine. "So this isn't just about making her sick. This is about making it look like she died naturally." He nodded grimly. "Whoever sent this knows what they're doing." That night, after Jasmine went to bed, Martha carefully installed a hidden camera in the kitchen small enough to blend into the shelf near the spice rack. It faced the counter where the vitamins usually Saturday. She placed the fake prescription bottle, now filled with sugar pills, Harrison gave her right where Jasmine would see it. Then she waited. 3 nights later, Ethan came over again. Martha kept to herself, knitting on the couch, pretending to be lost in a show. Jasmine cooked spaghetti. Laughter filled the house like nothing was wrong. But Martha's gaze never left Ethan. While Jasmine was upstairs changing, Ethan casually walked into the kitchen. Martha pretended to be absorbed in her knitting, but her ears were sharp. Click, rustle, footsteps. Later that night, when the house was quiet, she opened the camera app on her phone. The footage showed Ethan unscrewing the fake pill bottle. He slipped 2 real pills from his jacket pocket into it, then screwed it shut again. He even smiled. Her hands curled into fists. A part of her wanted to storm into his apartment that instant. But no, she wasn't going to act out of rage. Rage could be buried. Justice needed patience. The next morning at breakfast, Jasmine poured herself some juice and picked up the bottle. "Those came in the mail," Martha said casually, stirring her oatmeal. "Did you ever figure out where they're from?" Jasmine hesitated. "No, probably a shipping error." Martha tilted her head, watching her daughter's face. She wasn't lying, but she was avoiding something. "Baby, you and Ethan been serious for a while now?" Martha asked lightly. Jasmine blushed a little. "Yeah, I mean, we've talked about moving in together." Martha's spoon paused midair. She didn't want to tell her daughter the truth, yet not until she had undeniable proof. Because if Jasmine didn't believe her now, Ethan would win. That evening, as the autumn rain fell softly outside, Martha sat alone in her car across the street from Ethan's small rental house. She'd borrowed Dr. Harrison's small audio recorder, the kind used for patient notes. Through the open window, she could faintly hear Ethan talking on the phone inside. "Ethan," low voice. "Yeah, she'll start taking them soon. I made sure the bottle's right in the kitchen. No, she doesn't suspect me. Her mom's just nosy." A pause. Once it's done, I get my cut. That's the deal. Martha gripped the steering wheel until her knuckles whitened. Someone else was involved. Ethan's front porch light flicked on. A dark SUV rolled up. A woman stepped out tall, sharply dressed, with sleek hair pulled into a bun. Martha recognized her instantly. Sandra Miles, Jasmine's supervisor at the hospital. Sandra handed Ethan a small black envelope. He slipped something inside his jacket, glanced around nervously, and went back inside. Martha's breath came short and sharp. She knew Sandra had always been cold toward her daughter, jealous of her quick rise. But this was a whole different monster. She turned on the recorder again, whispering to herself, "You messed with the wrong mama." The next morning, Martha visited Dr. Harrison again and handed him the audio file. His brows furrowed as he listened. "That's enough to get the police interested," he said carefully, "but not enough to convict. We need the delivery source or physical link between Ethan and those drugs." Martha's eyes hardened. "Then we'll get it." Harrison hesitated. "Martha, you're stepping into something dangerous." She smiled, but it wasn't soft. It was the kind of smile only a woman who survived worse could give. "Danger doesn't scare me. Losing Jasmine does." Martha sat at the kitchen table sipping black coffee, tapping a pen against a notepad. She had 3 things now: evidence that Ethan tampered with the pill bottle, an audio recording of his deal, a clear view of his connection to Sandra Miles. But what she didn't have was the final link. Why? Why would Jasmine's own supervisor want her harmed? That night, as Jasmine was folding laundry, Martha leaned in the doorway, her voice calm but deliberate. "Baby," she said softly, "how about we invite Ethan and Sandra over for dinner Friday night?" Jasmine looked up, surprised. "Sandra? You don't even like her." Martha gave a tight smile. "Exactly." Into the doozies. Friday arrived with gray skies and a cool wind. Martha set the table with her best china, the kind she hadn't touched since her husband's funeral. She wanted everything perfect, not because she was being polite, because this night would be a stage. She placed the fake pill bottle prominently on the counter again. The hidden camera had a full view. At 7:02 p.m., the doorbell rang. Ethan arrived first, wearing that charming smile like armor. Sandra came 5 minutes later in a black trench coat and expensive perfume, pretending sweetness. "Mrs. Cole," Sandra said smoothly, extending a hand. "What a lovely home." Martha's lips curved. "Thank you. Shame it's not big enough to hide the truth." Sandra blinked. Ethan's smile stiffened for half a second. Martha caught it. They all sat around the table. Jasmine was cheerful, unaware of the storm swirling beneath the surface. Martha passed the cornbread. Sandra laughed too hard at small talk. Ethan held Jasmine's hand like a devoted boyfriend. But Martha watched. Halfway through dinner, Martha stood up. "Oh, Jasmine, honey, could you grab me my pills from the kitchen?" Jasmine nodded, walked out. The second she disappeared down the hall, Ethan's eyes flicked instinctively toward the counter, exactly where the pill bottle was. He didn't move, but that flick was everything Martha needed. She forced herself to keep her face neutral. Sandra sipped her wine. Calm, too calm. Jasmine returned with the bottle in her hand. "Here you go, Mama." Martha took it slowly, then looked directly at Sandra. "Funny thing about pills," Martha said softly. "When they're fake, they look real. But when they're real, they kill people slow." The room went still. Sandra's smile faltered. Ethan shifted in his chair. Jasmine laughed nervously. What?" Martha never broke eye contact with Sandra. "Somebody thought they were clever, mailing poison to my daughter, sneaking it into my kitchen, thinking I wouldn't notice." Ethan's fork clinked against his plate. Martha leaned forward. "I noticed." Sandra cleared her throat. "Mrs. Cole, I'm not sure what you're implying." "Sweetheart," Martha cut in smoothly, "I don't imply. I prove." The tension at the table could have been cut with a knife. But Sandra was a woman who played games for a living. She simply raised her glass. "Well, if you have proof," she said lightly. Maybe you should call the police. Martha almost smiled. Oh, I already did. A knock echoed at the door, but it wasn't the police. It was Dr. Harrison, carrying an envelope of lab results. Sorry to barge in, he said. You asked me to bring this tonight. Ethan stiffened. Sandra's hand twitched under the table. But just as Martha was about to reveal the results, Jasmine suddenly gasped. The kitchen light flickered. A strange, sweet odor filled the air. Within seconds, Jasmine coughed hard, her eyes watering. Martha's head whipped toward the stove. A faint gray smoke was seeping from the oven vents. She rushed forward inside. A gas-soaked towel was smoldering, planted under the tray. Someone had set a slow burn trap. Martha grabbed the towel with oven mitts and hurled it into the sink. Harrison cut the gas line valve. The house filled with panic and noise. Jasmine clung to her chest, trembling. Mom, what was that? Martha turned slowly. Ethan and Sandra were on their feet, faces pale, but the fear in their eyes wasn't for Jasmine. It was because their plan had just misfired. The fire department came within minutes. So did the police, after Martha insisted on reporting the incident. Ethan stuck to his story. We just came for dinner. Sandra acted outraged. This is insane. Someone must have broken in earlier. But as they stood outside in the flashing red lights, Martha saw it. A tiny singe mark on Ethan's cuff, right where someone might have lit a match. And Sandra's expensive perfume? It wasn't perfume at all. It carried the faint, sharp undertone of accelerant. Martha didn't have proof to arrest them yet, but she had enough to make them nervous. And when people like Ethan and Sandra got nervous, they slipped. Later that night, after the chaos cleared and Jasmine finally fell asleep, Martha stood alone in the living room. The house smelled faintly of smoke. Her hand still trembled from the image of her daughter coughing on the floor. But behind the fear was something colder. Resolve, she whispered to the empty room. You came into my house. You touched my child. I'll burn your lies down to the bone. She picked up the envelope from Harrison off the table and opened it. Inside were lab reports and photos, official proof of the poison's composition and origin. A small black logo in the corner of the form confirmed it. Hudson Construction Logistics, the company Ethan worked for. The next move would be hers. Martha barely slept. The Hudson Construction logo burned in her mind like a warning flare. Ethan had delivered the poison. Sandra was pulling strings. But why? What did they gain by hurting Jasmine? She sat in the dark kitchen, her robe pulled tight around her, scrolling through old family photos on her phone. Jasmine smiling at her nursing graduation. Jasmine blowing out candles on her 18th birthday. Jasmine hugging Ethan last Thanksgiving. Her jaw tightened. Not my child. Not this time. When the sun rose, she brewed strong coffee and made 2 decisions. 1. She would not involve Jasmine yet. 2. She would make Ethan and Sandra expose themselves. Martha drove to a public library 2 towns over a place where no one would recognize her. She logged onto a computer, used the Hudson Construction info, and started digging. Within an hour, she had what she needed. A shell delivery company under Hudson's logistics branch. A series of small shipments labeled medical supplies. And Sandra Miles listed as a consultant for one of those shipping chains. Her breath hitched. Sandra wasn't just involved. She was helping run the pipeline. Then she found the final piece that froze her blood. One shipment was addressed to Jasmine Cole's apartment. It was scheduled for delivery in 4 days. That evening, Ethan called Jasmine. His voice floated through the hallway like poisoned honey. Babe, I've been thinking. Maybe we should move in together sooner. I could keep you safe, you know? You've been so stressed lately. Martha listened from the kitchen, her hands clenching the edge of the counter. Jasmine hesitated on the call. Ethan, I just don't know. With everything going on, Ethan cut in smoothly. Martha closed her eyes and exhaled slowly. She could hear the trap in his voice. When Jasmine hung up, Martha smiled softly and said, Baby, maybe it's not the worst idea, if it's what you want. Jasmine blinked. Mama, are you serious? I thought you didn't trust him. Martha gave a practiced shrug. Maybe I was wrong, but she wasn't wrong. She was baiting the snake out of its hole. Martha met Dr. Harrison in a diner off Route 7. The sound of frying bacon and clinking dishes covered their hushed voices. I've got what I need, she said, sliding him the printed shipment receipts. They're delivering again in 4 days. Harrison looked concerned. Martha, you're dancing on a landmine. These people are dangerous. She sipped her coffee slowly. Then I'll dance real careful. He slid a small black recording device across the table. Take this. If they say anything, make sure it's recorded. I'll handle getting the police involved. Martha closed her fingers around it. I don't need the cavalry yet, Harrison. I just need their confession. That night, Jasmine sat at the kitchen table, chewing on the edge of her lip. She'd been quiet for hours. Finally, she whispered, Mama, there's something I didn't tell you. Martha's heart tightened. She set down her cup. Go on, baby. Jasmine's eyes glistened. About Sandra. She's not just my supervisor. She was my father's nurse before he died. She's known our family a long time. Martha's pulse spiked. Sandra Miles? Jasmine nodded. Yeah. She was working part-time at the hospital when Dad got sick. She used to come around a lot, even after he passed. Old memories stirred sharp and bitter. Martha remembered Sandra's cold, evaluating eyes at the funeral. She'd chalked it up to jealousy. She was wrong. Jasmine continued, I think she always hated me. I don't know why. Martha forced her voice steady. Oh, I know why, she said softly. Because some people don't want to destroy strangers. They want to destroy the ones they envy. The next morning, as Jasmine left for work, Martha's porch camera pinged. A notification. Motion detected at front door. She opened the feed. A small white envelope lay on the mat. No sender name. Inside was a single note written in neat, cold handwriting. Stop digging, Martha, or your daughter won't live to see the next prescription. Her hands shook, but not from fear. From rage. She whispered to the empty hallway. You made a mistake. You warned me instead of killing me. That's the last mercy you'll ever get. She folded the note neatly, placed it in a Ziploc bag, and tucked it in her Bible with the list. The storm was no longer coming. It was already here. Martha called Ethan the next evening. He sounded startled when she asked him to come over. I just wanted to say, she said sweetly, maybe I've been too hard on you. You're good to my daughter. Maybe I should trust you more. Ethan chuckled, his fake warmth seeping through the phone. I'd like that, Mrs. Cole. Come to dinner tomorrow night, Martha said. Just the 3 of us, like family. When she hung up, her smile faded. On the counter, the black recording device glimmered in the lamplight. This time, I'm ready for you. Martha cleaned the house slowly, carefully. Every fork was polished. Every glass was spotless. The recording device was hidden inside a ceramic bowl on the dining shelf, strategically placed to catch every word at the table. She set 3 plates on the table: roast chicken, mashed potatoes, Jasmine's favorite peach pie. It wasn't a family dinner. It was bait. Her reflection in the kitchen window looked older than her 50 years. Her hair, streaked with silver, was pulled into a bun. Her eyes were sharper than they'd been in years. Tonight, no one leaves this house innocent. Ethan arrived at 7 sharp. He wore his usual dark jeans and a crisp button-down shirt. His smile was too perfect, his hug too warm. Martha, he said, handing her a bottle of wine. I brought this for you. She smiled back, sweet as sugar. How thoughtful. Jasmine, oblivious to the darkness coiled around them, was glowing. Mama, isn't this nice? It's been so long since we've all had dinner together. Martha kissed her daughter's forehead. Yes, baby, it's perfect. Saturday. The clinking of silverware was the only sound at first. Ethan laughed at one of Jasmine's stories. Martha watched, calculating. measuring every pause, every flick of his eyes toward Jasmine's plate. He wasn't here for love. He was here to finish what Sandra started. Martha excused herself to the kitchen to get dessert. She left the door slightly ajar, just enough for the recording to capture Ethan alone with Jasmine. Ethan, softly, "You trust me, right?" Jasmine, confused. "Of course I do. Why are you asking?" "Then, when I tell you we need to leave this place, you'll come with me." Martha's fingers tightened on the edge of the counter. He was accelerating the plan. When she returned, she caught the flash of something in his hand, his thumb brushing the rim of Jasmine's wineglass, a tiny drop from the vial in his sleeve. But Martha had already switched the glasses earlier. The poisoned glass now sat in front of Ethan. Martha raised her glass first. "A toast," she said smoothly, "to family and to honesty." Ethan lifted his glass with an easy grin. Jasmine followed. Martha watched him drink. One slow sip. A tiny twitch in his jaw. He didn't even know what he'd just done. She set her glass down. "Ethan, honey, tell me something. How long have you known Sandra Miles?" His smile faltered. "Sandra? Oh, Jasmine's supervisor? I've only met her once." Martha leaned forward. "Liar." Jasmine blinked. "Mama?" Martha's voice was low and steady. "I know about Hudson Construction. The deliveries, the poison, and the note." Ethan froze. His pupils dilated. His hand slowly slid off the table, reaching under his jacket. But Martha was faster. She lifted her phone, pressed play. Ethan's voice from moments ago filled the air. "Then, when I tell you we need to leave this place, you'll come with me." Jasmine's fork clattered to the floor. "Ethan," Jasmine whispered. "What is she talking about?" Ethan stood, knocking over his chair. "You don't understand. It's not what it looks like." Martha rose too, calm as still water. "Then explain why Sandra Miles is delivering poison to my daughter." His mask slipped completely. Gone was the warm, charming man. His eyes were cold now, calculating. "Because she wants you gone, Martha. She wants your daughter, and she needs you out of the way." Martha's heart pounded, but she didn't show it. "And what do you get?" he smirked. "A very nice payout." Jasmine backed away, tears flooding her eyes. "You were going to kill me?" His voice lowered. "Not me. Sandra. I just helped." The poison was kicking in now, just a slow, creeping burn through his veins. He staggered slightly, gripping the edge of the table. Martha tilted her head. "That's what happens when you drink what you meant for my child." The doorbell rang. Martha's stomach tightened. She didn't invite anyone else. Ethan's breathing grew uneven. She wasn't supposed to come." Sandra Miles stood at the door in a black trench coat, her lipstick perfect, her expression calm. "Martha," she said smoothly, "we need to talk." Martha didn't move. "We're done talking." Sandra stepped inside anyway. Her eyes flicked to Ethan, then to Jasmine, then back to Martha. "You're smarter than I gave you credit for." Sandra's hand slipped into her coat. Martha's mind raced. She had only seconds. "Put it down, Sandra," Martha warned. Sandra smiled. "You're shaking." "I'm not," Martha said softly. "You are." Because Sandra's plan was unraveling in real time. Ethan poisoned himself. The recording was live streaming to Dr. Harrison's emergency line, and Jasmine had finally seen the truth. Ethan collapsed to one knee, coughing. "Sandra, do something." But Sandra didn't help him. She didn't even look down. She had only one target left: Jasmine. Martha stepped in front of her daughter. For years, Sandra had been a shadow in the corners of Martha's life. At the hospital, at the funeral, at the pharmacy, always near, always watching. "You took everything from me," Sandra hissed. "The life I should have had." Martha's voice was low. "You had your own life. You just wanted mine." Sandra raised the small syringe in her hand, clear liquid glinting under the chandelier light. "Then I'll take it now." Martha moved. The struggle was fast and brutal. Martha grabbed Sandra's wrist, twisting hard. Years of buried fury fueled her. The syringe clattered to the floor. Ethan groaned, half conscious on the carpet. Jasmine screamed, backing into the wall. Sandra swung with her free hand, catching Martha on the jaw. Pain shot through her skull. Martha stumbled but didn't fall. She slammed Sandra into the table. Plates shattered, glasses rolled. Martha hissed in her ear, "You should have stayed a shadow." With one final surge, Martha shoved Sandra back. She hit the edge of the buffet cabinet hard and went down. The front door burst open moments later. Dr. Harrison, 2 paramedics, and police officers flooded the room. The recording had been enough to send them flying here. Sandra was handcuffed on the floor, still cursing. Ethan, pale and weak from the dose, was strapped to a gurney. Jasmine sobbed in Martha's arms. A female officer gently touched Martha's shoulder. "Ma'am, you saved your daughter's life." Martha's voice trembled, not from weakness, but from the weight lifting off her chest. "I just took it back." The house smelled of bleach and silence the next morning. Martha sat at the same table where everything had happened. A beam of sunlight fell across the broken floor tiles. Jasmine shuffled in, wrapped in a blanket, eyes puffy but steady. "Mama?" Martha opened her arms. Jasmine fell into them like she did when she was little. "Will they go away forever?" Jasmine whispered. "They'll pay," Martha said softly. "And we'll live." Outside, a bird sang. For the first time in weeks, Martha allowed herself to breathe. The sunlight on Martha's face was warm, real. For the first time in months, she woke up without her chest tightening. No alarms, no secrets, no late-night whispers. The house still bore scars of the fight, a cracked dining cabinet, scratched floors, faint shadows where blood had smeared, but it was hers. Every broken inch was proof she had survived. She brewed coffee like she did every morning, but today there was no envelope on the porch, no footsteps in the dark, no fear clinging to the corners of her mind. Jasmine walked into the kitchen, hair tied up messily, wearing an oversized sweatshirt. She looked older than her years, but stronger too. She leaned against the doorframe, sipping orange juice. "How's your jaw?" Jasmine asked. Martha smiled, touching the faint bruise along her cheek. "Better than Sandra's ego." Jasmine chuckled softly. It was the first time Martha had heard that sound in weeks without a shadow behind it. Ethan and Sandra were both facing a long list of charges. Attempted murder, conspiracy, medical tampering. Dr. Harrison testified. The recordings were airtight. Ethan tried to make a deal, blaming Sandra, but it didn't matter. The evidence was stronger than his lies. Sandra sat in silence during the hearing, eyes burning with hatred. Martha didn't flinch once. Jasmine attended the trial too, not as a victim, but as a survivor. 2 months later, the weather softened. Spring wrapped the neighborhood in green and gold. Martha planted a small garden in the backyard. Nothing fancy, just lavender, daisies, and jasmine flowers. Jasmine knelt beside her, patting soil around a sapling. "Why lavender?" Martha wiped her hands on her jeans. "Because it grows back every year, no matter what winter does to it." Jasmine smiled, understanding without needing more words. That night, alone in her room, Martha pulled out a small notebook she hadn't touched since her husband's funeral. She wrote, "To the woman who almost lost everything, you didn't. You fought, you bled, and you won. This house no longer belongs to fear." She folded the page carefully and slid it into the back of the Bible where the warning note used to be. That note was now in a police evidence locker. The threat was gone. Only her strength remained. Jasmine got a job offer from a community health clinic 2 towns over. A place with good people. A clean start. She asked her mother what she thought. Martha only smiled. "Go live your life, baby. I'll be right here." They hugged in the doorway, sunlight wrapping them both like a soft blanket. The night the storm broke, Martha learned something she hadn't truly believed in years. Monsters can wear warm smiles, but mothers Wear armor no one sees coming. She wasn't the same woman who opened that wrong prescription weeks ago. She was harder, wiser, unbreakable. As the sun dipped behind the house, the scent of lavender drifted through the window. Martha closed her eyes and whispered, "Never again." And for the first time in a long time, she meant it. If this story touched your heart or kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to subscribe and hit like, share it with your friends, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Your support inspires me to make more powerful stories just for you.